All right. So yeah, I kind of messed up my YouTube Go Live here. So, hey everybody, this is John. Hey, what's up, Bolt? I'm kind of gonna give it just a minute here. I accidentally started a new stream instead of the one I had scheduled. I don't. I think that other one closed out. If anybody got on there, but give me 1 minute here. Let's see. Okay, so gonna start now. Hey everybody, my name's Jonathan. Thanks for checking out my stream today. I am in day 68 of my 3-year challenge here to get my weight and everything under control. How's it going, Carrie? Chat here. All right, thank you for checking out my broadcast today. If you want to watch my broadcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Also, turn on any notifications to make sure you get alerts when I go live. I have been going live pretty much every day at 4 o'clock at this point for a couple months. And so, if anybody has any non-scale victories they want to share, any challenges that they've come across with their weight loss, maybe we can talk through them and help out. Or if there's anything just in general you want to talk about, hit me up in chat. That would be great. My feet are doing really well. Bolt asked how my feet were doing here. I didn't. I think I referenced them maybe a little bit yesterday that um, and it's even less today that like when I wiggle around my big toe or whatever, I can kind of maybe feel like that there was something wrong with it, kind of, but it does. There's no pain. It was, and I'm actually gonna. I lined up my Garmin stuff here today, so I'm gonna do the Garmin stuff and go over that. But definitely a concern going into our trip this past weekend because I knew that there was going to be some walking, and then there ended up being, a lot more walking than some. Ended up one day, I think it was like 4 times what my normal walking was. Uh, but it was, I believe, the first morning. So it was like we slept there on the 31st, and then I got up in the morning and went to the bathroom. And when I came out, the first thing Carrie said to me was, "Well, it doesn't look like your feet are hurting you today." And so, time, eating some more food, and then maybe just the activity and actually, using them kind of help them and work them out. But they're feeling really good. So I'm not putting my feet in the foot massager anytime soon. But they're feeling good. So Crow says, "Hi, how you doing, Crow? Let's see, you're 7 days in here. I know you were um doing one meal a day now, right? Or you were I know you had fasted for those 4 days and then um you were going on. So I'd love to hear how you guys are doing. And then Bolt, I know you were working on the AIP, which is not too different from our diet to start. I know you kind of add stuff as you go. Um, but I hope that's going well for you too. Um, the Let me see what I even had on my notes for today. I didn't get a chance to put too many notes. Pro says he's been refeeding with fruits and veggies and a small amount of meat. And then Bolt says that he is going strong with his diet. That's great to hear from both of you. Um, yeah, I've been uh, just crushing those fruits and vegetables here. I was thinking about everything I had today. Um, I had for breakfast, I had a banana, an apple, and a mandarin orange, and then there was shredded wheat. Carrie gave me the idea to take some of that frozen fruit, let it thaw, and put it in with my shredded wheat. Did add some flavor, which was nice. It made actually, in the end, it made the fruit easier to eat because the berry mix I got has got like cherries and heart cherries and stuff. So it was actually just eating the fruit alone was too strong. So mixing it in with the shredded wheat really helped dilute that. Um, and then yeah, I had a couple more mandarin oranges when I was here. I mean, no, cuties, not man, cuties, like the little itty bitty things that the skin just falls off of. Um, so yeah, I felt like I ate a lot so far today. Um, but I did weigh. I didn't do a video. I'll do a video tomorrow of what my weight is. But it made me laugh because I am down. I'm actually down, fully dressed from where I was yesterday, fully dressed. But one of, I guess, my non-scale victories is that I did wear this shirt today. I don't know where this shirt originated from, but I know I've owned it for a little while. It's not my favorite shirt to wear because it's always a little bit short in like the belly. I don't like it if I put my hands even above, I put my hands above my head and my belly hangs out. I don't like that. And so this shirt is something that I've I kind of have to be thin, I had to lose some weight to wear. Like it's good kind of in the shoulders and stuff, but it was always too short. But when I was getting ready today, I was laughing because it really looks like I'm wearing a bathrobe. It's like a quilted, it's super heavy, and it's got this weird collar. I'll back up. Yeah, I guess I could stand and help it. Oh, it's super warm. I actually have a like an in-wall air conditioner heater vent here at Fashion Show. Yeah. That I have it turned on to fan right now. In fact, it might be messing with my audio. I should power it off so it doesn't get picked up at all. But so yeah, it looks like I'm wearing a bathrobe on stream today. It's not really. There's like this weird collar here. Um, but see, Bolt said they're working on a batch of chicken in the slow cooker now. Okay. Um, that's awesome. You were the one talking to you had ordered chicken or something. Yeah, that you were so. And then you say you can't hear any fan. Yeah, no, it might not be noticeable. It might. I have my microphone set too that it shouldn't pick up much audio when I'm not talking, so it might just come in the background of that. But it's not a big. Gosh, I don't know. I don't have a ton to talk about today here, and I mean, I could talk about stuff. I just don't know where to even begin. I guess. I guess I thought a lot about the stream yesterday. I was kind of uh, at the time when it was mentioned, there was the guy in chat that mentioned about kind of the emotions being um, sounding like addiction or withdrawal from addiction. Um, Definitely made me kind of think of that a little bit. Yesterday in the afternoon, and just the how different things are and how they needed to be different. But it's also kind of cling to the past or the way you did things in the past, and that's all got to change. I've definitely done a lot more of uh, delving into my diet and this way of eating the last few days than I guess I even feel like I was in the past, as far as like what I'm spending my free time doing or looking into. And just becoming more invested in it. And so it's kind of interesting with that as well. The the other thing I guess I was going to talk about was the Garmin. I can go over that while I'm trying to think about anything else that we were talking about. It's funny too that I'm listening to a book as I'm kind of doing these things, and so then they say things in the book where I was like, oh, I should talk about something along those lines, and then now I'm sitting here, I didn't write it down or I don't have it in front of me. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know that there's a lot of things in that book that I'm listening to, The Pleasure Trap, that even if you weren't to subscribe to their necessarily diet that they, that they are talking about, or that they do talk about, there's a lot of other advice that they talk about, as far as like the amount of sleep we get, how we're not designed um to be up past dark. Like, it's not something that is in our nature. And so, because we stay up past dark, we get less sleep. And then we also have an alarm clock that wakes us up in the morning. Um, and so, one of the things that we've decided to try to work on at home is getting um, the working on home is getting more sleep. And so last night we did try to go to sleep earlier. It even the best laid plans, they don't. We ended up going to bed probably an hour earlier than our average time going to bed. I guess I would say that. Um, sometimes we end up staying up real late watching TV or doing stuff, and kind of actually talked to Carrie about that yesterday a little bit. Was like, at the end of the day, we always feel like we need time to unwind, and there is definitely a need for those times. But at the same time, like, sitting and watching TV and feeling like you're unwinding, is that better than sleeping? Like, are you really, like, sleeping is like the most restful thing you can do. So even though you are unwinding, um, maybe sometimes sleep is better. Okay. But at the same time, life is what it is. You want to be entertained. You need to have enjoyment in your life. So you're not going to just cut out staying up and watching TV. I understand that. But, maybe working on trying to get more sleep when you can get more sleep, or adjusting your schedule um, might help with that. Um, I'm just going to throw up the Garmin here because I kept talking about the steps, and then I never ended up actually going over the steps here. Carrie says, what about the thing you were going to talk about when our kid was in here on Tuesday? Yeah, I can go over some of that as well here in a minute. Yeah, let me do this because I've been talking about it. I'm going to do it. So this is going to have to start broadcasting. So right now, resting heart rate is at 89. That stress being up. Let me see if it shows from yesterday here. Oh no, that's not under stress. That's under. Uh, so it does say I don't get much like deep sleep, and I think it has to do with my CPAP machine. But it was almost 8 hours of sleep. I know Carrie said she was up uh earlier than me because the kids like to crawl into bed and bug us. They also like crawl into bed and then do knee drops onto my stomach and nearly kill me. And so that is how I woke up this morning. Well, I was already up, but I was not expecting a 40-pound child to just dive bomb it, like right below my sternum. It hurt. Anyways, yeah, then but before she had to make a comment about trying to get kid free time. Exactly. Just wake up and they're in your bed already. I am just stumbling through here because I'm looking for my step counter. Um, so if you look here, I'm back to my normal average steps here today. I guess I haven't finished the day, so that's why it is still so low. But you can see I reached almost 15,000. I guess if you're on a device, you might not be able to see that on the 31st. But I will look back at the daily here, and just to show kind of the steps. It was It was a good trip. Like I said, we ended up figuring out how the shuttles worked. So the Sunday we drove home, so I didn't do a lot of steps there. You can kind of see where it's flat, around 4,500. That's when we were driving home. Saturday I did 11,000 steps. It's funny how quick this app ups your goal, like from day to day. I don't know if it does like an average of the last 7 and then it adds maybe something to make that your next goal. But I was reaching my goal steps on previous days, so I'm just gonna go back. So the first was the day I did the most steps, which was almost 15,000. We had figured out the shuttle on the second, and that's why my steps are actually lower. Had we not done that, I probably would have had more steps on that day. And then the first day we were out on our trip, we were at 12,000. But my step goal going into that day was under 4,000. And then the next day that I had crushed that goal by 300%, the next day the goal was at 5,600. So it jumped it up 1,600. And then the following day, it jumped up the goal another 1,800. That much? Yeah, almost 13 or 1,700. And so it's funny how quick it ups that goal based on the steps you're taking. But like I said, prior to that, I was at 4,000 and I was hitting my goals. I guess I didn't hit them, whatever. But yeah, I thought I would show you guys that. And then as far as the thing that I was gonna talk about with Danny the other day, and I kind of didn't see on my apps, picture of my son. All right. I don't have it like flushed out, I guess, the what I was gonna say, but I guess what it was or what I was going to talk about was relating our consumption of food to our to sex and reproduction or procreation. And I guess what initially got me even thinking about it was a few different things, but like the I said this, I guess, a comment like this to somebody else, but when I drive down the street and I look and I see uh, a Burger King or a McDonald's or a fast food restaurant, I think of like if you were to compare what they're serving compared to like what we're designed to eat or what like we would find in nature to eat. It's almost like the difference between like how we're supposed to feel sex and like the I guess the only way I could relate it in like a structural sense is like a porn store. Like what they have inside of a sex shop or a porn store is sex, but is and some of it is okay, but it's it's a perverse or it's a very different thing than what is the natural thing. And then um the other thing I was thinking about too with it is how we watch not just like that while I was fasting, I would get on and I would watch people eat food. But in daily life before, even when I was eating, I would sit down and I would watch a cooking show. I'd watch Hell's Kitchen or I would watch um the Great American Barbecue Challenge or British Bake Off. And like is watching TV about food, is that like watching porn on your computer or on your device? Is it um, by watching somebody eat steak, is it releasing chemicals through my body that I would be releasing if I were eating that? Am I eating vicariously through that person? Just like if I'm watching somebody perform a sexual act, am I releasing those hormones? There's obviously physical things that happen to you. Um, the um, obviously physical things would happen to you when you watch people perform, a sexual act. Does that happen with food? You just don't notice it, or it's just become such a regular part of our lives that we don't look at it that way. Um, and then Bolt says he'll be right back. He's just gonna go make love to this chicken breast. Just kidding. Um, right. So yeah, I'm not saying that yeah, you shouldn't be having sex with your food. Well, that could be fun. Like not like wow. I'm just not even gonna go down. I didn't see that's why I didn't really want to talk about that much today because I don't have my whole because this isn't a topic that you can just kind of feel like uh it's tough to talk about for one, and then kind of have to have a place to go. But I do feel like there is some um, correlations to watching people eat food and getting benefit from it. That I'd be interested to see if there's been any type of looking into that as far as fasting or Crow. I think you said you're going into fasting again. I don't know if you, uh, you know, had any desire to watch people eat or uh and like I said, the other thing that while you're fasting you do have a lot of time. There is boredom too, like while you were usually preparing food or going to get food, you don't have those anymore. And so using that time to watch people eat the way you want to eat or eat uh prepare food the way you want to do things. Let's see. Carrie says that is an interesting connection. And then Bolt says different activities release these hormones, including food, love, TV, video games, etc. Yeah, like, and the book talks about that a little bit because what happens is that when you're in a bad mood or you're feeling hungry, that's your body giving you signs to do something to increase your happiness or to uh, take care of your food need. And a lot of times we go to short term, quick things that we think are going to help satisfy the mood. In in reality, if you don't go for the quick fix, you can if you find the root of what's causing that emotion, because if you feel depressed, it's usually not because you didn't eat recently. You feel depressed because of an external factor that hits you. But then the quick fix to feel better is to eat a Hostess cupcake. So you go grab the Hostess cupcake and you feel better for a little bit and you forget about what was making you depressed. And if you were to go attack the um, if you were to attack the root of the problem, you know, then you can help fix the problem and you don't or do something destructive. Not eating isn't the only destructive. Um, let's see. Bolt, I guess I missed this comment before. I think you're referring to it here. You said, I remember seeing an infographic on dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin and how they are related to happiness, depression, and love. And then you said these different activities release those like food, love, TV, games. Um, I don't know why Bolt wrote in the Discord. I don't know what that is. And then Crow said, yeah, there's a lot of YouTube channels I watch having to do with food. And I'm sure there's all kinds of us that if you're on YouTube, you have channels that you watch. But and that was another thing, I guess, that was about sex related to food that I was going to talk about that you just that just triggered. But also that like people's relationships with sex can be similar like with people's relationships with food in that um I am somebody that or like I'm somebody that needs food all the time or I feel like I need food all the time. And so um that would be you would if that were instead of food, you call me addicted to food or a food addict. If it was sex, you'd call me a sex addict or a nympho, I guess. Um, but then there are people that have no food drive, and so that would be similar to people who have no sex drive. And so the people that have no sex drive approach sex differently than people that have an overactive sex drive. And we recognize that there's different people like that in the world. But with food, we're all supposed to be able to just eat what we're supposed to eat. Like there's people that don't have a drive to eat food like I have to drive to eat food. And so that was also another way that I was thinking of relating eating to, sexual activity or reproduction. Um, was that we all have different drives. We all need different things to satisfy us. And I feel like with society, they allow us to eat a ridiculous amount of food and allow us to be, to do like getting to 520 pounds is ridiculous. It's uh, not normal for people to eat that much food. If I tried to have sex as much as I have food, I would be locked up. I mean, my wife would argue that I don't, but anyway, a whole different conversation. But um, I'm allowed to eat as much food as I want. I can have food anytime. I can eat food anywhere I want. I can get in my car. I can, uh, there's no restrictions on food. Just free game. They put out all this stuff for high calorie, and we're, not necessarily real food. So yeah, and then Pro, I know I said this already, but you did say that you do watch the channels with food, and I do too. And there's channels that I was watching like when I started my diet that I don't watch them anymore, um, just because they're doing honestly it's because they're cooking meat, and I'm not interested in eating meat. I still have some people I'm watching people do prepare and eat probably unhealthy foods. Um, but I am trying to focus more on getting my YouTube algorithm to show me um, the videos about whole food, plant based, and about that kind of lifestyle. Yes, it's interesting having a new YouTube channel I've never used before, and then seeing how the algorithms work for suggestions. I only follow like one or two channels, but every time I watch a video, I get bombarded with hundreds of videos in that domain. Let's do a bowl. You said you ate a lot today. I think I'm getting burps from eating so much. So you used to follow bodybuilding, and they often lose their sex drive as they go into a competition. To get shredded, they do not eat fat and have no body fat. Fat is necessary to have the proper hormone. Yeah, I mean, it's something that the book was just talking about was that a lot of time or sometimes when people get older or when people get real sick, they just don't want to eat anymore or they start fasting. And then 4 or 5 days later, they start feeling better, and like the doctors, the medical field may think that he's not eating because he's trying to give up, or but people lose their appetite, uh, and that's the body telling you that it could be telling it could be lots of things, but there's a chance that losing your appetite is your body saying, hey, we need to take this time to repair and fix things. We can't spend time digesting things. And the same would go, I believe it would be similar to like somebody who has very low body fat and their sex drive disappearing. It would be because their body would be saying, hey, there's not enough resources in this area to provide you with enough. Why would you want to reproduce? I mean, that would be my first kind of gut reaction to that kind of that. I mean, I'm sure there's other things that go into factor, um, but yeah, our body it's a complex machine. I mean, they talk about like the fact that like if a mosquito lands on your shoulder and or on your neck and bites you, your body, the number of things that have to happen from the second that you feel that mosquito pierce the neck, or the body feels that pierce the neck, for your hand to slap that bug within a second, but the number of things that have to trigger in your mind, the reaction, things like that, those things happen every second with our bodies. There's just so much going on um, that we assume we know that we might not, or things we just don't know. But yeah, there's there is an optimum fat level. There's an optimum kind of sleep amount for everything, and the the thing again that this book talks about is that animals don't have these problems in the wild. Like you don't like where I'm at, you do see fat deer just because they have access to corn and things like that, but they're not like morbidly obese, not getting around kind of fat. Um, Animals eat till they're hungry and then they fall asleep and they sleep till they're got all the sleep they need, and then they get back up and they repeat the same thing. We try so hard to control the landscape around us that we we stay up later than we're designed because we have artificial lights. We wake up earlier than we're designed because of artificial lights and because we have a job that we have to go to make money to survive. And then we we eat foods that have nutrients ripped from them to provide better taste, that are then higher calorie. Our body doesn't know how to interpret them. Like the biggest fact that they talk about that kind of blew my mind was that a pound of potatoes raw is 500 calories. I just had a pound of potatoes in front of me and I ate them, be 500 calories. But if I took a pound of potato chips that were fried, it could be up to 2,500 calories. The same food. My body might be thinking it's getting 500 calories when I eat a pound of potato chips. But in reality, it's getting 2,500 calories, 5 times what my body thought it was getting is what it actually. And so that's just in potatoes. I mean, those cheese curds I ate, holy cow, like 1,100 calories. I can't, I mean, who knows what my body interpreted that as far as what it was actually in calories versus what my body said it thought it was. I mean, because it doesn't take up a ton of volume, and that's just all fat and grease. I guess it's bread, but Pigeon is here. Says I'm late, but I still made it. Thanks for checking it out. Probably the best stream so far, Pigeon. It's really sad that you missed everything that happened so far. It was just stellar, and I don't even know, I might have to delete it too. So you might miss out. Sorry. I didn't say anything for it. Let's see. Crow says, well, yeah, the food industry spent so much time trying to get people to buy their products. They didn't care about the customer. Um, yeah, I mean, the food industry, it's when the people in charge are letting the people that they're regulating conduct the studies that they use to decide how to regulate it. It gets so, it's so, there's so many factors, and in our interest is not, it's all about money, it's about shareholders, it's about um profit. I mean, the if just using that potato example, I'm just gonna, like, as an executive at a, a business, if you were to say, hey, I got a product that, as it is, your consumers will consume. I mean, how much is a pound of potatoes? It can't cost nothing. But a pound of potato chips is probably 5 times the cost of um, a pound of potatoes. And then you say, hey, that person, if that person, let's say you could eat 5 pounds of potatoes, then they're going to sell you even more, the profit's even more. And so that's all they care about is profit. And then let's see. Awesome said, sounds about my luck. Yeah. And then Crow said, you was told in high school, and so you were told in high school you can't go 14 days without food or you'll die. I feel tricked that I never got to use fasting as a dieting tool growing up. So, a couple things. I don't know that anybody's going to recommend fasting for anybody that's not an adult, as far as like doing it as a younger person. I understand that, like, even so, I told a story early on about losing 25 pounds in a week in high school, and had I known I could have lost that weight through fasting as opposed to the way I did do it, it would be different. I don't know. Also, I didn't have the body fat I have on me. Like, what if I think at 420 pounds, I lost 30 pounds in my, or at 520, I lost 30 pounds fasting. So I wouldn't have been able to lose it as fast, but it would have been nice to be able to fast. But I was told the exact same thing, that if you went 14 days without food, you'd die. 3 days without water, you'll die. The water thing might be true still, or closer. Um, the 14 days without food, though, yeah, that's a weird one. That's a real tough one to kind of grab my head around, especially now, because gone 42 days without eating. I've done 30 days. I've done 10 days. Um, I suppose if you were if you were 6 foot tall male and you were 180 pounds and you went 14, I think you would survive too. I don't know where they got 14 days from. That would be something I'd be interested to find out, because I heard this. I'm almost positive 2 weeks, and it might be one of those things where it's a pop culture thing too, where somebody said it sometime on some pop culture show at the time, because the the difference now, what's so weird with time, is that what I consume in a day is 100% different than what Carrie consumes in a day, as far as visually, audibly, like on the internet. Whereas when our parents were kids, what my dad watched on TV, all the other kids would have seen on TV. I guess I don't. They had it. Um, but so that's kind of a difference too with that. But yeah, so um there's so much stuff though, that, like, everything that I was kind of, it uh yeah, everything you kind of were taught is wrong. And then Carrie says it's hard not to be angry about that once you realize that, yeah, that Are you talking about the fasting as a dieting tool, I guess, or are you just talking about that you've been lied to from the food industry for years? I think both of them, I suppose. Like the uh the shame, like I guess the only thing I would say as far as you're talking about like the fasting in high school is that I can't imagine the number of young girls who were overweight that could survive fasting for a couple days and that chose to do that and then told somebody about it and then had to deal with uh, being accused of having anorexia or food, and how that would have been a negative for that kind of person, like if that changed that person's views on it. But yeah, so that's kind of tough. I think that as time goes on, people are starting to uh, it's so weird too because it's the book actually just kind of talks about it, is that it's an ancient technique or it's an ancient consequence of survival that has been like erased from our collective consciousness, I guess. Like I imagine that even 500 years ago, somebody going a week without food or multiple days without food was not unprecedented. There was, I'm sure, people that lived in super harsh conditions that got snowed in and had to sit, I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of, um, uh, but it like nobody, like I said, I think it's becoming more uh, talked about or more popular through the internet, maybe through people like me talking about it in some ways. But the let's see. Oh my God! Right, get sent to their school counselor. Right, yeah. Like the girls, yeah. Like they have to go because they told their friend. Their friend maybe notices. Oh my gosh, she lost some weight. And they feel good about it. They're confident, so they tell their friend, and then their friend's like, "Oh my God, she didn't eat all day, or she cut her calories so low." And then they go to the school counselor, or they tell an adult, and then it becomes a thing. And then this girl goes from being in a position, I guess it could happen to boys too, but I just feel like that age it would affect girls so much. But they go from being so happy about achieving something to being just ostracized. That would be harsh. Like, and I understand there's a difference between, a high school girl that's over 200 pounds and a high school girl that's 105 pounds. Like, it's tough. The Pigeon says you can't be mad at the food industry. I'm 1,000,000% the reason I am overweight. They did make it easier to happen, but it's still on me. Yeah, there's um, it is on all of us that we allowed ourselves to get to where we've gotten. Like if to get to a point uh, where you're over 20 or 25% body fat, you do have to take a lot of responsibility. Um, what this book has taught me too, though, is that while it is your responsibility, your body, like I just talked about with the potatoes, if you eat a pound of potatoes and your body interprets that as 500 calories of food, then it's not. If you didn't know you were tricking your body, whose fault is it? It might not be anybody. But if you know that now, how do you approach that going forward too? So I guess the um everybody, what's happening at the time, when you look back on it in hindsight, everything is easier to look at. And then Crow says, I blame the food industry for the lies and using addictive substances that are unhealthy. I don't blame them for my own overeating. Yes, like that's the um if you watch a lot, and there's been so many documentaries through Netflix and you can get on Amazon and things like that, where they talk about that there is, like with uh product, I think like ketchup might be what they use as an example, but they spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to find out exactly how much sugar to put into that ketchup to make it continue to taste like ketchup, but not go past the point, or not go past the point where it doesn't taste like ketchup anymore, but get to the point where they can put the most amount of sugar in it because they know that that is what people enjoy in ketchup is the sweetness of it, or the sugar in it. And there's a term for it, but it's like the tipping point at which the amount of sugar you put into something ruins it. Like there's a maximum flavor point you can reach. And so I guess what it is that you as an individual consumer walking into a store, you are competing with thousands or millions of dollars worth of research and scientific technology to make that food give you the most enjoyment. And so if that food, a major consequence getting the most enjoyment of out of your food is that it's going to end up being high in calories. So and so let's see. Bolt says they went past the sugar flavor point in the, or yeah, you went through the sugar flavor, like when you were sugaring like your own item, I imagine you're talking about. Um, so yeah, I'm at 50 minutes. This is like record here for having nothing prepared and then um going on. So I am gonna wrap up now. I'm gonna get on tomorrow. I'm gonna weigh the right. Okay, if you put too much chocolate syrup in your milk, it can taste bad. Absolutely, it just tastes like you're drinking chocolate syrup, or yeah, you lose the flavor of the milk. Um, so I mentioned it briefly about the weigh-in, and I was gonna talk about it more, I guess, but I will weigh in tomorrow. I'm gonna try to put on an outfit similar to my normal weigh-in outfit. Those shirts and everything kind of are getting big, so it kind of like I'm swimming in the clothes. Um, but I was laughing because I was a little bit under fully dressed, and that's what I started to talk about. And I think I got to talk about the shirt, and I was like, I'm curious as to how much the shirt weighs. So I took the shirt off, and I dropped like 2 pounds. So this shirt weighs like 2 pounds. It's super thick and quilted and heavy. So I'm definitely not gonna weigh this on like an official weigh-in day. Gary says our kids do that too often. Yeah, with the chocolate and the milk, they do. But thanks again, guys, for checking out the stream. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the alerts. If you are on platforms, you can share it with other people. That would be great as well. I'd love to have a bunch of people in here talking about how they are kicking butt on their diet. I added like a recipe meal section to the Discord. I'm on Instagram at Fasting, FAHSTING. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. I'll be back on tomorrow. Hit me up with any questions in the comments below, or send me some stuff. I will answer. I get stuff on Reddit all the time, so I answer those when I can. So, anyways, you guys all have a great day.